Thank you, and it's an honor and privilege to be here among you guys. It's an honor and privilege to be here with all the students who are here. I enjoy doing that. Before I talk about something, I want to explain one thing. Stu Hoffman, when he came up here and he talked about something he never talked about in public, you understand what kind of courage that takes to do that, to come up in front of a group and to share personal things that you didn't know, that he never shared with? That's an amazing thing. I want to share a story about Stu as well that he doesn't know I'm going to share. But he and his wife, Cindy, they were coming down to Florida one day, and Stu is getting a little bit older, okay? So he lets his wife drive, okay? So they're driving down the road, and this female police officer stops them. And she goes up to the car, up to Cindy, and she says, do you know how fast you were going? Now Stu, sitting in the passenger seat, goes, what'd she say? It's getting a little hard of hearing, too, okay? So Cindy goes, she wants to know how fast we were going. So the lady officer says, well, you were going like 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. Stu goes, what'd she say? Cindy said 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. So she asks for their license. And she looks at the license and says, oh, you're from Phoenix, Arizona. Stuart goes, what'd she say? And Cindy goes, we're from Phoenix. And the lady officer says, you know, she said, the worst sex I ever had in my life was with somebody from Phoenix. So Stuart goes, what'd she say? And Cindy goes, she thinks she knows you. So anyway. So a little story about Stu there, but what we're going to talk about tonight is a little presentation here. It's called Rebooting Your Chiropractic Passion. Now, I've been in practice coming up to 39 years, okay? I'm not embarrassed to say that. I've been doing it for a long time, and I love it, okay? But, you know, like anyone else, there are certain times when my energy goes down, and I have to kind of look and fix it a bit. And I was looking at this and how much it's like a computer, okay? You've all worked with computers, and you know when things happen where they start to mess up and, you know, all these frustrations. I have a tech guy in my office, and I'm getting all messed up with my computer and getting very furious about it. And I call him up, and the first thing he says, did you reboot it? I said, no. He said, try doing that first. And usually when I reboot it, it puts it into back to where it's supposed to be. So rebooting, according to Wikipedia, is to cause a computer to effectively reset completely, causing the operating system to reload, especially after a system or power failure. Okay? So I started looking at that. Isn't that what we need to do with our lives sometimes? Our practice? You know, reset it. Go back to the beginning. Relook at it. And not just your practice, but your life. So I kind of put that into a definition for life. To cause a being to effectively reset itself completely, causing the environmental systems to reload after negative thoughts or human power failure. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about ways to reboot your life in here. Now, I'm going to be doing this fairly quickly because this was originally a 2-hour presentation and I have a half an hour. So it's going to be a little quicker than we normally do. But I think you're going to get the gist of what we're talking about. The first thing that you need to do to reboot your life and your practice is get out of your head and get into your heart. Okay? Stop thinking so much, head versus heart, and go where your heart takes you. You've got to stop the analysis, because when we start looking at things that are going wrong, what do? The first thing we do is try to analyze everything we've done. Well, you know, yesterday I had my coffee before I had my donut. Maybe I need to switch that around. And you go crazy with things like this. You overanalyze, okay? Feel instead of analysis. Go with your innate messages and block out the educated. There was a man, I was in Australia about 7 years ago, and I was invited to have dinner with the Australian Board of Chiropractic. And what they have is each state, they have a member of the board, and they meet and they have a dinner. This is the whole country, right, representing chiropractic. And the president of their board sat next to me. And we talked about all kinds of things, and he was asking all kinds of questions. And he was very much into Greek philosophy, and he believed in the Socratean method of asking questions, all right? So he kept doing this all night, all night. I was trying to eat my dinner. I couldn't eat my dinner because he kept interrupting me with questions. I was getting very frustrated. I'm an Italian. You don't take a dinner away from an Italian, okay? So at the end, we answered the questions, and we had a good talk, and everybody started to leave. And then he kind of pulled my arm and pulled me off to the side. And he said to me, I need to talk to you. And he started crying. And he said, I've lost my chiropractic passion. And what do I do? So the first thing I told him is get out of your head and get into your heart. Because this guy lived in his head. Totally. Everything was analyzed. Get out of that and get into your heart. Just feel what you need to do. And there's ways to do that, which is some of the things we're going to talk about. How to get out of your head and into your heart. Okay? First of all, you got to do is clean out stuff. Throw out the old stuff. Throw out the old stuff. Start with the physical. Go into your closet. Take out the clothes you haven't worn in a year or two and throw them out. Okay? Throw out magazines. Throw out all kinds of stuff that are not serving you anymore. Because when you start doing that physically, then you start doing that on other levels. You go to emotional levels, okay? Start throwing out the emotions that don't serve you. I'm not saying be emotionless. I'm saying just reevaluate. What are you doing? Are you living in fear, in grief? Is that serving you anymore? So start throwing out the emotions. By the way, the physical things, there is actually a Google site where it tells you 116 things in your household that you could throw out, okay? And you can, I have 11 that are the major ones, and I've just about said most of those anyway, but don't throw out your husband or wife. Just look at the whole thing, okay? And start going from the physical through to the emotional. What does that do? Even on the physical level, when you get rid of old stuff, what's it doing? It's allowing the universe to send you more new stuff, isn't it? Okay? You've got to understand these things. I one time helped a chiropractor who was having trouble in her office. She was trying to break 200 patient visits a week. And she was always coming up to like 190, 189, and couldn't break the 200 patient a week. And I have this little gift for me that I can go into an office and usually tell exactly what needs to be done. And this was the strangest thing because I was shocked at it myself. I looked in your office and I said, you need bigger garbage cans. And she went, what? I said, you need bigger garbage cans. She had these little tiny garbage cans. I said, how are you going to see more people if you're not prepared? Right? She put in these huge garbage cans. The next week, she saw 250. Broke right through 200 to 250, okay? You've got to prepare yourself so the universe can give to you. So throw out the old stuff, okay? Mental. Mental is concepts. Concepts that we have hung on to that may be old and not useful anymore, okay? Those are some of the things you look at with that. And then in your own life, spiritual. Throw out the old spiritual concepts and things that may not be serving you any longer with that, okay? So that's the next thing, is throwing out this old stuff. Let's see. There we go. This is an important one. Stop hanging out with losers, okay? Winners say it may be difficult, but it's possible. Losers say it may be possible, but it's too difficult. Winners see the gain, losers see the pain. Winners see possibilities, losers see problems. Winners make it happen, losers let it happen. They become victims of that. Now, I'm going to talk about this, and this is great for people who are lost, all right? Meaning you don't know what's going on, you feel like you're lost in your practice, in your life, whatever. It's something called the 4 C's, and the 4 C's are given to people who are becoming pilots, airplane pilots, okay? And it's for the pilots when they're lost. Okay? The first C stands for confess. Confess that you're lost. Yes, that may be the hardest one of the 4 C's to do, especially for a guy. You know, they won't even admit they're lost if they're going around the Galleria Mall here, okay, let alone in a plane. Now, you hesitate with confess, and you're going to run out of fuel and have a lot of problems then. So especially in an airplane, you got to confess. Confess that you're lost, okay? The next C is climb. In a plane, in an aircraft, you climb. Because by climbing, you see more of the horizon, you get a bigger picture of everything, right? And you'll also have a bigger range for your radio to call out to people, right? So in life, in your office, climb. Get above the situation. Get above everything and look at it from a different viewpoint, okay? It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. That's the second C. The third C is to communicate. To get on that radio and communicate. But you need to communicate to someone who knows where they are. You try and get on the radio and get a hold of another pilot that's lost. You're really going to help each other, aren't you? Right? Do you know what I see with young chiropractors? They communicate with each other and they're both struggling. And they think that's going to bring them out of it. What it turns out to be, instead of communication and growth, it turns out to be commiseration, which is another C in there, rather than growth. Okay, they start bitching about their life and what's going on, and insurance is bad, and I don't get any new patients, and blah, 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 blah. No. Communicate with someone who knows where they are. Find a mentor and communicate with the mentor. Okay? That's what you want to do with that. On the plane, communicate with someone who knows where they are. And then the next thing, which is probably the second hardest thing for people to do, the fourth C is comply. Comply. In the plane, the person says, they contact the tower and they say, you need to turn southeast, 94 degrees, go in that heading, and you say, I don't want to go that way. Now, you're lost, but yeah, you're not going to do that. How many times have I heard that in chiropractic? You know, with people who were my mentors and things like this, and people with me, I've had this happen, right? It's like, okay, what do I need to do? Well, are you doing patient orientations? You need to start doing those. I don't want to do those. Okay? And I know some people I've talked to and said, I gave them 3 or 4 things to do, and they chose not to do them. Good, then stay lost. Okay? If your mentor tells you do this, you say, how soon, how much, and do it. Because that's what's going to get you out of being lost. Okay? Everybody thinks they have a better way, and they sit in their squalor complaining about it, and they're not doing anything about it. Okay? Comply. Comply. Those are the 4 C's. One of that is don't hang out with losers, because that's the commiseration. Okay? Get above that stuff. Okay? Number 4, change yourself. When you stop trying to change others and work on changing yourself, your world changes for the better. And it can be very simple. People think this needs to be a big deal. Change yourself because it puts you back into present time consciousness. Okay? Let me explain. Dr. Sid used to say to the guys, obviously, he said, if you have a beard, shave it off. If you don't have a beard, grow one. And what it was, just change. It changes your whole energy. What I'm going to tell you to do is the first thing you do in the morning, when you wake up, tomorrow morning, do something different. Because we all have a habit of doing the same thing when we first wake up. Go to the bathroom, whatever, brush your teeth, cup of coffee, whatever it is, tomorrow morning, do something different. And then start to see during the day, what can you do differently? Eat the dessert first instead of your main course. Right? What leg do you put in your pants first? Try doing it with the other leg first. You're going to see it's going to be difficult at first because you have to be more conscious to do this. You're not functioning in the unconscious anymore. You're consciously functioning. I'll tell you a good one. If you wear underwear, tomorrow don't wear any underwear. If you don't wear underwear, put some on. Nobody will know but you'll know all day. Okay? And it'll feel different. I'll give you one more. Next time you go to a restaurant and you order a meal, and the waiter or waitress comes and puts the plate in front of you, don't move the plate. Eat it just where it is. You try to do that and see how many people are successful the first time. Yeah, because you're unconsciously put it into the space you want it. But eat it the way it is. You will be so conscious of what you're doing, and it puts you right back into present time consciousness. So try to change yourself. Do something different. I know people who will, women who will change their hair color or change their style of what they're wearing or a different type of clothes, things like this. I'm always casual. I practice in Florida, right? So we're casual, like sometimes Hawaiian shirts, jeans, or sometimes in the summer even shorts, okay, in my office. But one day, for one of my talks, I came out in a tux. And that was wild. I mean, people were like, what's going on here, this kind of stuff. But it raised the consciousness of the whole area, of myself, too. You'd be real conscious of it. So change yourself. It's a real neat thing to do. Okay? Now, I have up here pray, meditate, or play. All of those will take you out of your analytical mind. Okay? Praying is like speaking to God or the universe. Meditation is like listening to God or the universe. Okay? You quiet yourself down to do that. Or you play. Watch kids when they play. Do they look like they're in their analytical mind when they're playing? Hell no. No, have fun, play, express that energy. Bring yourself back to a child. Bring yourself into that moment of just conscious playing, of having fun, joy. I don't think people laugh enough. I think we've become too serious of a society. Okay? Need to play more. Now, playing slows down the analytical mind and puts you in a natural, joyous state. See, things done for yourself die with you, but things you do for others stay immortal. It's a quote from Wayne Dyer. Okay? One of the interesting things I have in here, this is a part of getting back to this, praying or meditating, is tithing. Okay, now, most people, and it's totally fine, the tithe is usually to their church, their choice, right? And it's something like 10% or whatever the tithe is that people do of their money back to the church. Okay, but I do something a little different, and I hope you follow me on this. I tithe 10% of my time back to God or the universe. What do I mean by that? Okay, I'm up usually 16 hours in a day. Sleep 8 hours, up 16, generally, right? So I tithe 1.6 hours a day. That's a half-hour meditation in the morning, a half-hour prayer at night, and 0.6 hours during the day of thanking God and being grateful through the whole day. At first, I had a watch that beeped every hour so I could remember to do that. But now I don't need the watch anymore. I do it constantly. And that's my tithing. And for some people, that's a harder type of tithe than to give money in there. Okay, give your time and do that. Okay, all this will get you out of that analytical mind. Give someone a gift, okay? Now, if you really want to do something well, remember, give for the sake of giving, love for the sake of loving, do for the sake of doing, serve for the sake of serving, out of your own abundance, looking nothing for in return. That's the part people seem to leave off. Looking for nothing in return. You want to do something fun? Give someone a gift without them ever knowing where it came from. No card, no trace of it. You never tell them. That's truly giving. That's truly giving if you can do that. I met a lot of people who can't do that. They have trouble with that. Okay? Give someone a gift. I remember I did that years ago, here at Life College, there was a lady who went to school. She was a single mother, had 2 boys, and she had a real tough time. And she was real sad. She was my patient as well over here. And so one day, and it was no special occasion, I sent 24 roses to her house with no one knowing where it came from. And to this day, she never knew where it came from. Okay? But it changed her whole attitude to just totally give someone a gift without no knowledge of that. You know? And that goes into gratitude. Well, let's go to service first. Okay? Getting out of the analytical mind, serve. Serve. My father's quote, I grew up with this. My father would say this: when you see a job that needs to be done, accept it as yours. I grew up with that. I remember seeing things like when my son was here at Life College, back 2003, 2004, in that time. Okay? I'd walk across campus, and there'd be some garbage there, and he'd stop and pick it up. And he'd walk over here and pick up some more garbage and put it in the trash. And he said, "This is my campus, Dad." He said, "I want to make sure it stays clean." Serve. Serve. Go on mission trips. How many people have been on a mission trip? Great. Do those. That's wonderful. You know, and if you know what? Those of you in practice, make a mission trip out of your office sometime. I know a guy who would practice all week, and Friday night, the last hour and a half in his practice, he would open it up as like a mission trip for people to just come in, don't have to worry about paying for the last hour and a half on Friday night. Okay? There's all kinds of things you can do with that. But serve. Go out and serve somebody. Go out and serve people. Do what you can for people. Okay? Get out of your own head. Get into your heart. Okay? That's the bottom line with it. Okay? I love the quotes. Give your hands to serve and your heart to love. That's from Mother Teresa. Gandhi. Find yourself in the service of others. You have one from Muhammad Ali, right? I can't quite see that one. I'm sorry. That's the service is the rent you pay for your stay here on earth. Okay. Those are some examples of service. Then you show more gratitude. Okay? Thank yous. You want to really pump this up and get it going? 10 thank yous every day out of your office. Write 10 thank yous every day. My mother got a hell of a lot of thank yous in the beginning because I couldn't think of who to send it to. Okay? But you start looking around. Look around for things you can be grateful for. Like the mail person got a thank you from me. Thank you for being so consistent in delivering the mail. You know? Patient, thank you for your smile today. You know? Your front desk people who may not get thank yous all the time. Anything like that, thank them. Thank them. 10 thank you grams a day. I promise if you do that for 30 days, it'll change your practice in your life. See, gratitude keeps the positive connection with the universe solid. Okay? That keeps that solid. It keeps the cycle going, and it builds faith with that. So that's an important aspect. Okay? Number 9, read. Books that lift you up. Okay? Here's a few of them, right? The Bible, maybe, you know, the green books. One of my favorites, Norman Cousins' Anatomy of an Illness, who talks about laughter and healing. Psychology of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden, who just passed away recently, but wrote this back in the 1980s. It's a great book about self-esteem. And one of my favorites, if you've never read this book, it's sometimes people never hear of it. It's The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. That book was written like in 1910. Okay? And Wallace Wattles was Napoleon Hill's teacher. The guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich. Okay? And so this little book, and I'll tell you where you can get it. You can get it for free. You go online and go to thescienceofgettingrich.com, and you can download it for free. I must have read that 20 times. Okay? But anything that lifts you up, read. Read things for fun, too. You know, it doesn't have to always be some kind of growth thing, because in fun, you'll relax and get back to being out of your head with that. I usually have 2 books going, one on my iPad and one audiobook going at the same time with that. Read. Number 10, keep going to the places that charge you up. Keep coming back here. This is my first time here at Light Vision, actually. Okay, I love it. I love it. It gives me such warm feelings about, I used to be one of the people who was back here with DE, like Jason was talking about. My kids running around the floor, who are now 35 and 37. Okay, so come back to the places that charge you up. And that place might be a lake. It might be a mountain. It might be the beach. It could be here. Any place that you feel that charges you up. You know, go out to the college, go to the library, or whatever. Okay? That's what you want to do. Okay? And above all, love. And above all, love. Okay? I love this picture. It's been on the internet. 2 skulls kissing. Are they a man and a woman? Is it a woman and a woman? Is it a man and a man? Does it make any difference? It doesn't make any difference, because love is love, and I'm talking about unconditional love. Unconditional love. You know, BJ saying, and you just heard it a little bit ago, okay, I love you because you love the things that I love. It's a great saying, but I don't agree with it. That's not unconditional, is it? Unconditional is I love you, period. I love you just because I need to love, you need to hear it, and we love each other. That's the beauty of it. Loving totally out of your abundance, not expecting anything back in return, and loving this profession for what it does, for who it's helped. You understand that when you adjust someone today, you're affecting the life of someone in China? You understand? Because we're all part of the totality. We're all connected. So is that a bigger picture than dealing with Fred's back pain today? You follow what I'm saying? Keep that in your forefront. That this is a bigger picture and we're changing the world. From whatever we do in our own place at our own time, we are changing the world. So, God bless you. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep going forward. Thank you.